Well, everyone, I'm a little bit upset. If you can't tell, my demeanor is in a very bad state right now. And the reason for that is because our PC over there, Prometheus, old reliable, the first one I ever built, crapped out on us. I've done everything to try and fix it. I replaced the power supply. I redid the processor. I redid pretty much everything. And from what it looks like, the motherboard is crapped out. So, my luck, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I figured in order to just get over this, I would just record on my laptop, which is what you're seeing the picture on right now. Hi, laptop right here. And all. We're doing this old school. And usually the display capture works on this, so I don't have to go in post-production and re-edit the video over top of it. But that's not the case now. Now I have to go back and do it the old way again. And needless to say, I'm a little upset, just to put things plainly, because not only do we have recording now, today, but Sunday there's a big show coming up for the School of Morton that if I don't have Prometheus ready by then, I'm going to have to take the stream machine because my laptop can't support all the stuff they got going on there. It can't. And my laptop, if it craps out on us, then I guess we're freeballing. We're freeballing it tonight and just doing nothing. We're being risky. And thus we won't have any videos.
I actually have my laptop in the car as a backup too, so there you go. At least.
So anyway, yeah, this is Fast and Furious presents Hobbs and Shaw official trailer number 1. Yeah, I'm sorry for my bitching. If you have a problem with it, air your shit in the comments down below. So anyway, here we go. Yeah, oh yeah, I can't put it up on screen. I can't bring it up anymore. That's right.
Yeah.
I have to get used to that. Here we go.
I'm dealing with the future of the planet.
Idris Elba, okay. I knew he was going to be the villain, but I don't know what he's going to...
Human evolutionary change. Bulletproof.
What?
Superhuman.
Who the hell are you?
Bad guy.
Well, at least he's honest.
The mission has been compromised. We
Damn.
need help.
Eats coffee straight out the tin.
Is Brixton. He's a ghost. We're gonna need the best trackers in the business. Luke Hobbs.
I'm what you call an ice-cold can of whoop ass.
Career lawman. Always gets his guy. We're gonna need to operate outside the system. Deckard Shaw.
I'm what you might call a champagne problem.
Rogue former MI6 agent. Doesn't play well with others. If we stand a chance against Brixton, you guys have to work together.
This ain't gonna end well.
No way. This guy's a real
Okay.
This job requires stealth.
And bullshit.
I'm trying to save the world, which, for the record...
But hey, it's Fast and Furious. What else is there to say?
Because I'm really good at it.
You have no idea what we're dealing with.
Ow.
Hobbs and Shaw. You want a war? You've got one. Remember me? On my three. Sure. 1, 2, 3. 3 shocks will kill a man. There we go. The bad guy's feet.
You had to open your big mouth, didn't you, huh?
Yeah, I thought it was a cool thing to say at the moment.
Yeah, but then you realize, oh shit, it hurts.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of how it goes, man.
This might be the first Fast and the Furious related thing I actually go see in the theaters.
Well, I will say this. This has sort of caused a little bit of a schism in the Fast and Furious family, I guess you could call it. Because the people who've been in it since the very beginning, Vin Diesel, well, save for a few films where he was, a couple of films where he was absent for the most part. Yeah, turns out he is very unhappy that The Rock and Jason Statham decided to go off and do their own movie within the Fast and Furious universe, because according to Vin Diesel, it belongs to him. But then all of a sudden, the original creator of the characters and also Chris Morgan, the guy who has been writing the Fast and Furious films since I believe Part 4, came forward and said, Vin, what the hell are you talking about? Because, well, Vin Diesel didn't create the Dominic Toretto character. I mean, he plays him, and he's played him longer. He's played him before the unfortunate demise of Paul Walker, Vin Diesel was the longest serving member of the Fast and Furious franchise. And I will say,
has he ever been involved in production costs or anything like that?
Yeah, his One Race Films, I think that's what it used to be called. I forget what it's called now. But his production company has assisted throughout the past, I think, 3 films, for 5, 6, and 7. Or no, actually 5, 6, 7, and 8.
Yeah.
I will say this, to me, 5, 6, and 7 are the best by far, because one was a fun little crime movie where the characters are actually, that's the most realistic one out of all of them.
Yeah.
2 was interesting but dumb. Very dumb, especially when it came to consistency, because they tried to flash stuff. Because this shows you the level of inconsistency that film had. When they showed the character bios up on screen, they flashed them on real quick. I went back and I paused it, and just to show you the amount that they did not care with the characters' backstories, they listed Paul Walker's character as 6'1", and then they listed Tyrese Gibson's character as 6'2". But when you see them standing next to each other, Tyrese Gibson was this tall, and and Paul Walker's like this tall. So, and then not only that,
so they weren't even
No, they, and not only that,
it wasn't even that there was a larger difference than that. It was that they were actually swaps.
Yeah, and not only that, but they also, I think, in terms of inconsistencies, they did there's financial history, and it said, I'm not making this up. It said the Big Bank, 1, 2, 3, 4, Anonymous Way, Miami, Florida, and I'm like, that shows you just how little they cared about the consistency and the production and the backstory. Mm. Now, don't get me wrong, the cars in there were probably the best they've ever looked, because it was top level tuner cars, and it was the first time we saw the Nissan Skyline. And then Tokyo Drift is where actually business started to pick up in terms of the car action, the stuff that they could do with cars that everyone was just like, ooh, I like this. But the problem was, it didn't have either of the main 2 stars.
I feel like I didn't hear much about drifting until that movie came out, and then everybody over here in the U.S. was suddenly talking about it.
Well, yeah, and
so it kind of brought it into the mainstream in the U.S.
Well, yeah, it's pure controlled chaos. Mm. It's you pretty much flinging your car into a racing line, but doing it on a public road. And it's crazy to think about. And honestly, for me, I liked the third one. I'd say probably the third one I had the most fun with between the first 2. The first one had the better story. The second one had the better cars. The third one had the best action. But then Part 4 came out, and then all of the original cast members came back. All of them. Vin Diesel, Paul Walker, Jordana Brewster, and Michelle Rodriguez. They all came back. And then Part 5, Part 5 is where things really started to go into their own, like, it started to really transform the franchise. Instead of becoming a movie about a bunch of fugitives on the run and on the lam from the government and from officials and everything, instead it becomes a heist movie. And not only does the film do good, but it does great. It kills it at the box office, and critics actually like it.
Was that the most recent one? Or?
No, 5.
Okay.
No, 5 is where things really started to, like, when the Fast and Furious franchise really started to become massive. It was big, and it made decent amount of money.
Whatever the most recent one was the one that when I saw the trailer. Oh, so that was 8. Yeah, they did several since then.
Well, yeah,
so I saw the trailer for it, and I was like previously I had like zero interest in the series at all. Mm-hmm. Just because I had like I guess my own like idea of what it probably was in my head, which didn't really interest me at the time.
Which was
and, like just kind of a fast car movie like type thing.
The first 2, yeah.
But rethinking it nowadays, like I actually should go back and watch the series because I have a lot more of an interest in cars now than I did when I was younger. Mm-hmm. And I've seen the trailer for like that most recent one, 8, and I was like, this actually looks really badass.
Well, I'll say this,
and I like a lot of these actors now too that I didn't really appreciate when I was younger as well.
Okay, I'll say this: 5 to me is where business really started to pick up and everything started to come together really well. And also, 5 is where the introduction of The Rock is. That's where Dwayne Johnson comes into the picture. Actually, I love the trailer for 5 because the very first part of the trailer, it's him getting off of a plane and him talking about something. It's just like, oh, it's going to be another Dwayne Johnson action movie. And then he ends his speech with, and number 1, we do not let them get into cars. And then it cuts to Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. It's just like, wait, what?
Oh, so
how the hell did this
They opened it with like a fake out, like it wasn't, you didn't know what it was going to be. And
yeah.
And then like, this is Fast and Furious.
At the end of it, it was like Fast 5. And I'm like, holy crap.
Oh, nice.
They pulled that off good. I like that. And then 6, it continued on the formula. And it also tied up some loose ends that people had inconsistencies with since Tokyo Drift. And then Part 7 came out and probably to me has one of the most heart-wrenching and most honest tributes to a person I've ever seen. Because
the whole Paul Walker driving away
scene.
That
one, that scene right there. I know
it's like, even though I don't know much about the series, like obviously like that was all over social media when it happened. So
well, of course, man. I mean, I know it was memed to hell, because I remember the one, it was guy stubbed his toe and then all of a sudden his pinky toe goes flying off with Paul Walker.
Yeah. And
that was funny. But honestly, for me, seeing Paul Walker the entire series and then him gone like that in the blink of an eye. Not only that, but he left behind his family. I believe he had a daughter, and he was also, I think he was actually going to get married again here soon. But for him to be gone at 40 and having a hell of a peak in his movie career again.
Yeah. And
then a lot of people said they should have ended it with 7 because 7 was a perfect way to end it.
Right.
And I agree with that because what they did with 8, I get what they did with 8. 8 was a lot of fun. I had fun with 8. Not only did they bring back everyone again, but they brought in Charlize Theron and they brought in Tormund Giantsbane.
Nice.
Tormund is in it, and he plays an assassin. He's pretty fucking badass in that. But they step up the game in ridiculous ways, and I have fun with it. But to me, nothing will beat 5, 6, and 7. Personally,
it did look like a pretty over the top movie.
Well, it was over the top, but in a good way. Yeah. It was the best kind of over the top,
Like, yeah, this looks like the same way, like just the way that trailer looked, but like this one looks even more interesting to me than that one did. So I'm like, I might actually go watch this one.
And that's
I'm wondering if I need to see all the previous ones before I watch this, or if I could. Well, it could be good to just see this on its own because it seems like sort of a spin-off type thing.
It is a spin-off, but from what they've said, this holds no ties. Like no one else from the Fast and Furious franchise shows up, as far as I know. And also a big thing too is Jason Statham doesn't come in until Part 7. So if you want to get the full Hobbs and Shaw experience, you need only watch Fast 5, 6, and 7, and 8. But me, I'd recommend watching all of them because to me, all of them have their own allure. Although I will say 2 and 4 are probably the dumbest in terms of some stuff. There's some pretty good stuff in 4, but overall, to bring all the characters back together, they sort of do some stupid things. And I'm like, come on. Can't we do anything better than that? But anyway.
Yeah, but what I was going to say is, like, from the sound of things, Vin Diesel doesn't really hold any claim to this universe.
He wants to, though. He wants to.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of being like a little overly like, yeah, I gave some money to this, so I have a claim to it. And it's like, yeah, but yes and no.
Well,
it's like if they're not, including your character or doing anything with your character, really, that's all you really even have grounds to be that upset about. Is like if they were doing something with your character, like letting somebody else play him or something,
Well, they did discuss that when he didn't come back for Fast and Furious 2. Because he demanded way too much money.
Yeah.
Because when Fast and Furious 1 came out, Vin Diesel was, a lot of people said, was like the next big American action star. Because he had that, and he also had Triple X on the horizon, and both films made a lot of money, and pretty much rocketed his star even higher. But then people really started to see that he was being sort of a dingus when it came to demanding too much money.
Yeah.
And
I've always really wanted to like Vin Diesel, but then at the same time, it seems difficult to like him for some reason.
Well, so, I do like
stuff
him.
like this makes it like more difficult to like him.
Well, I do like him, but my problem is just that there's too much. He feels like he has too much of a he feels like he's too powerful in this universe to not let the producers. And also Jason Statham and Dwayne Johnson do their thing in another film.
Yeah, I think that's a little
conceited, in my opinion. Because, look, okay, it's the same thing that, in certain cases, is going on with Ben. You see, Ben is wanting to strike off in some ways and do his own thing. And if he does his channel and it becomes more successful than mine, am I going to hold a grudge against him? Hell no. Hell no, I'm not going to hold a grudge against him because Ben's going to do what Ben's going to do. Same thing with Micah. If Micah decides, hey, I'm going to do Micah Makes now, and he gets popular off of that and gets more popular than me, I don't care, guys. Because
I even asked you, I was like, yo, if me and Andrew start doing reactions and we kind of, to an extent, copy your format, would you be mad? Or
no.
Would you say we copied you? And you're like, no, I would prefer you do it in my format because that's the way I think that reaction videos should be done.
Well, yeah. In some ways, I think it should be done. Well, the big thing is having the video in a much smaller corner versus Jinx, who pretty much had to take up 3/4 of his screen and just him off to the side like. Anyway,
yeah,
all right.
I
well,
don't get that one either.
yeah. Well, we'll get back to doing more of these trailers and stuff here in just a moment. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we hope you have enjoyed what you've seen here. This was Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. And if you want to see more from us, feel free to click the links in the description down below. And also, do not forget to check out our various other endeavors. And until next time, everyone, signing off, I'm Nate.
I'm Nick.
And we'll see you in the next one. Peace out.